Hey Siri, what time is it?
It's 3:44 p.m.
I mean, that's true, but it's also time for our Battle of the Titans. This is the video you've all been waiting for. Tens of you have been asking me. Echo Studio versus HomePod. Which is the better speaker? That's the question we're here to answer today. Okay, so I've been using the HomePods for a while. I got 2 videos about how much I love the HomePods and how great of speakers they are. This is Amazon's newest high fidelity smart speaker. It's called the Echo Studio, and I gotta say, this is really good too. I've been using the Echo Studio for probably 2 months now, and I will say this right off the bat, these both are better and worse than the other in different ways, and we're gonna run through all that stuff. Let's kick it off with one of the big ones, and that is intelligence, and we're gonna do a hearability test as well to see how well these things can hear us. But first, let's talk about smarts. I think it's pretty safe to say, and you probably already assume this, but the Echo Studio, Alexa, so much smarter than the HomePod and Siri. Siri is great for really specific tasks. If you want to use it to turn your lights on and off, or play a specific song, or tell you something that's on your calendar, this works great. The Alexa technology is able to discern more nuanced questions and give you answers to stuff there's no possible way that Siri could ever hope to do. Let's just do a random test here. Alexa, who's Steve Jobs?
Stephen Paul Jobs was an American business magnate, industrial designer, investor, and media proprietor.
Okay, now this should be an easy one. Let's see if the HomePod can do this. Hey Siri, who's Steve Jobs?
I can't get the answer to that on HomePod.
Yeah, there you go. Alexa, how big do crows get?
Crow's average size is 1.4 pounds.
Hey Siri, how big do crows get?
I can't get the answer to that on HomePod.
I figured as much. Alexa, who is Hulk Hogan?
Terry Gene Bollea, better known by his ring name as Hulk Hogan, is an American former professional wrestler.
Hey Siri, who is Hulk Hogan?
Terry Gene Bollea, better known by his ring name as Hulk Hogan, is an American former professional wrestler, actor, television personality, entrepreneur, and musician.
Okay, a little surprising that HomePod knows who the Hulkster is, not Steve Jobs, but then again, is it surprising? See, that's exactly what I mean. Echo Studio is able to give you answers to all sorts of questions that are surprising. It goes out and it finds this information somehow, and Siri just often doesn't know what to say. Winner for intelligence, absolutely the Echo Studio. Even the first generation Echo is still world smarter than the HomePod. Okay, now here's a big one. When you're talking to your smart speaker, oftentimes you're calling to it from across the room. I swear, this thing can hear you whisper from across the entire house. This is really good. I don't feel like it's as good as the Echo Studio. Let's test it out. Alexa. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Alexa. Hey Siri. Okay, honestly, that's shocking. They both heard me pretty good, but let's play some music and see how well they do when there's something else going on in the room.
Connect it to Spotify.
Alexa. That's pretty good.
Thanks.
Hey Siri. That's pretty good too.
Sorry, I'm unable to do that.
Yeah, shocking. So there you go. I think I still give the slight edge, just in my experience, to the Echo Studio. It's able to pull your voice out of noisy situations just a little bit better than the HomePod can, but the HomePod is still excellent. Even when these are playing music, when you invoke the magic words, boom, both these lock onto your voice and they're ready to do your bidding. Now I want to touch on this next one just real quickly, and that's aesthetic and build quality. I gotta give it to the HomePod on this one. This beautiful HomePod, it feels like it was put together by a highly talented team of specialist industrial designers who hewn this out of many months and years of effort, and it kind of feels like Echo Studio just said, whoa, that's a pretty good design. Why don't we just kind of do that? The HomePod is just more beautiful. It's more refined. It's more polished. It feels like a piece of artwork. This, it's nice. It looks nice, but it feels more generic. It feels like it was slapped together with off-the-shelf parts, and this feels like it was custom made to be beautiful in your household. Now, I know that's subjective. You may really like this design, but you can see this design took a whole lot of inspiration from this design. I think as far as aesthetic goes, this is the clear winner. The other thing that is important, and you may not even realize it, is tech integration. The HomePod works really well with HomeKit accessories, so things that live in the HomeKit ecosystem. Now, the problem with that is there aren't a lot of HomeKit accessories out there. They tend to be a little bit more expensive, but if they are HomeKit certified, this is able to control them for the most part, and it works really well. But there's a limited selection of tech integrations you can get that work with the HomePod. Amazon took a much different strategy than Apple did. There's a lot more devices that work with the Echoes. Virtually everything does, and they tend to be a lower price. It is worth mentioning though, if you are steeped in the Apple ecosystem, this is gonna be the one that you probably wanna go with just for that reason. It integrates with everything. You can use AirPlay and send music and stuff, even movies. It integrates with your Apple TV. You can actually just, with the click of a remote on your Apple TV, send movie audio to your HomePods, even if they're in stereo mode, and use them for stereo speakers. So there's just a lot of stuff that you can do with these if you're in the Apple ecosystem, and that's gonna make these so much more convenient for you. Now, we're gonna do the sound test in just a minute because I think that's probably the most important piece of both of these speakers, since these are both high-end smart speakers. But before we talk about that, I wanna talk about the philosophy that was used to build the tech components inside both of these. The HomePod was custom crafted by Apple. Many of the components inside were made by Apple, designed by Apple to work specifically with HomePod. You have 7 individual tweeters inside the HomePod. Each of them have their own individual amplifier so that this speaker can control what comes out of all these different speakers, and it's constantly monitoring to see what's bouncing off the wall, so it can custom control all of the audio coming off this. It also has an upward firing woofer, which they say gives you better bass. And I will say, this thing packs an unbelievable wallop. So the HomePod was developed by a team of engineers and designers over years, and they scrutinized over all the details of the sound and how it was built. The Echo Studio doesn't quite match that pedigree. Now, don't get me wrong, the Echo Studio is really nice, but it feels more like it is off-the-shelf components that were bought off the marketplace. They weren't custom designed by Amazon. They just said, look, we want a higher-end speaker. What can we do to build one? Let's see what's out there. Let's get some really good components and pack those into a speaker. And the Echo Studio has a different mix of components inside. It has 3 mid-range speakers, 1 tweeter, and a subwoofer, and those are cranking out all the tunes. It just doesn't feel quite as precise, quite as, I hate to say this word, quite as artisanal as the HomePod does. This feels like it was designed by a bunch of really hipster guys with waxed mustaches who drink premium soy products. This feels like it was built by a team of engineers. They're probably in REI jackets. They're wearing beanies all the time. They got scruffy beards. They're not quite as clean cut as the guys that worked on HomePod. That's how it feels. But now here we go. This is the real test. This is what you wanted to hear. Here's how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna pump the same sound out of both these. I'm gonna put the microphone above the speaker that's going so we know which one we're listening to, and I will let you listen for yourself and you can hear exactly how these sound. Now, the one thing I also have to mention is the Echo Studio is compatible with all the music apps you love. You could bark out an order and this will go and play the music from Spotify that you want. HomePod still doesn't do this. So to make the test fair, I'm going to stream the music from Spotify on my phone to each one of these speakers because this can't go out and pull the music from Spotify on its own. It just doesn't work yet. Now, if you're gonna wear headphones, this is a great time to put them on because I don't know how well you're gonna hear the nuances between these two, just listening to your computer speakers, which are probably really sucky. So if you're gonna put your headphones on, do it right now. Here we go. just shocking how much of a wallop this HomePod packs. It's small, it's compact, but once you turn it on, it just brings the thunder and it punches you in the chest every single time. Now let's get the Echo Studio queued up, ready for the same tune. I hope you're ready for round 2. Genuinely, I'm very excited. Let's do this. Round 2, here we go. I think I have a conclusion, and I'm actually surprised at what I'm about to say. Unfortunately, I can't run it through a lot of popular music because YouTube will get mad at me and probably delete my video and maybe explode my whole channel. So I can't give you the full audio experience on more songs, but I'm actually surprised at the results. And you know what? This actually affirms the conclusion I have come to over the last 2 months about the sound quality between these two. And if you're wondering who the winner is, the winner is... it's the HomePod! I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought that because this one was so much smaller than the Echo Studio, and this has such a big sound to it, that the HomePod was gonna lose, but playing that one song side by side, it's really not super close. I think the HomePod, it's louder, first of all. I could turn up the volume even way louder on the HomePod, but more than just the volume, the delineation between the sounds, the quality of the sound that you get is, I think, dramatically superior on the HomePod than it is on the Echo Studio. The Echo Studio, it sounds like a great sounding stereo system. It gets loud, you can hear the bass, and you can hear more stuff going on in the music that maybe you couldn't hear before listening to your headphones. The HomePod, it's those custom audio components shining through. It's the work that Apple did over the years to polish this device and make it unlike anything else that's out there. It really sounds much more premium than this speaker does. If I had to give it a grade, I would say this is an A+, and this is a B+. It's still really good, but it's just not the same. It continues to be shocking just how good the HomePods are. Now, I think you're gonna really love the Echo Studio as well, even though it doesn't sound quite as good as the HomePod. You get the broader range of tech accessories. This hears you much better. It's smarter. It can answer more questions. So if you're looking for a smarter speaker, I think this is the one to go. I will mention also, this speaker is really large, and you would think that would be a bonus because it would have stronger sound, but I don't think that it does. And also, because it's so big, it's actually kind of hard to find a place in your house for it. I tried to put this where my old Echo was sitting, and there wasn't enough space. It just looked weird because it's so dang girthy. Now look, I'm a big fan of Girth. I love Girth Brooks, he's my favorite artist, but this is just a little too girthy, if you can believe such a thing can happen. When it sits on your table, it takes up the whole space and it just looks a little weird. So it's actually kind of nice that this has a slimmer profile. Now, there's a lot of you out there that are gonna call me a fanboy for my opinions here today. I'm perfectly okay with that. I am kind of an Apple fanboy, but I also love what Amazon is doing, and I think that I gave these both a fair run. I think I know the strengths and weaknesses of both, so it's gonna depend on what is most important to you. Sound is seminal for me. That is what I'm going for. This is a sound first device. Apple built it as a high fidelity speaker with some smart speaker functionality. This is the exact opposite. This is a smart speaker with nicer audio components bolted on. These two things have different philosophies, and I think that's apparent in their strengths and weaknesses. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up there for now. My name is Erfon Elijah, Gadget Hunter. I'm bringing all the best tech, all the best services, you name it, it's coming to this channel, and it's coming real soon. If you like this content, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll be back before you know it with a video that's probably even better than this. I don't even know how that's possible, but we'll see what can happen.